Well, Helen, it looks like it's a few minutes after 4. First, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today. This is a jointly sponsored program between Harborfields Public Library and South Huntington Library. So if you are students from either one, thank you. I'd like to introduce, or it's my pleasure to introduce, Helen Murdock-Prep. She's an artist, illustrator, and teacher. And today she's going to be doing a wonderful demonstration on copperplate calligraphy. We are recording this, so you will be able to go back in a day or so and re-watch it if you need to practice. So Helen, are you there?
I'm here. It's just my face in a booth and my hands, but I am here. Thank you, Susan. I am delighted to be back again at the Harborfields Library, and thanking South Huntington Library as well for joining together to bring another lettering style to you guys. Last month I did something called Calligraphy, and that is a scripted hand. And it's funny because Copperplate is also a scripted hand. And that's what I'm going to be demonstrating to you today. So really, you can just, this is not instructional. I will be kind of explaining things, but mostly this is for your pleasure. This is for your eyes to enjoy the way that the letters come streaming across the page. And so, like Susan said, if you have any questions, you can unmute yourself at any time. I'm happy to answer them. And then we're going to do a little group participation in a bit. I'm going to ask you to give me your names or maybe an expression you would like me to illustrate. But anyway, so let me get started. Yes, I am Helen Murdock-Prep in my little art booth here. I built this during the beginning of the pandemic when a lot of galleries closed. I thought, well, what are we going to do about going to see art? So I made a little artist booth and I put it on my driveway. And then I took my artwork and I put it on my front lawn and called it a drive-by museum. And people came and drove by in their cars nice and safely so that they could take in the art. So now you're getting it up close and personal on Zoom. So before I begin lettering, I just want to show you some of my watercolor art, because I'm a watercolor teacher and an artist in my own right in that medium. So you are going to be seeing the lettering part of myself, but this is my watercolor part. I've been lucky enough to have a gallery show at the Harborfields Library, so maybe you saw some of these things. And I was also part of the Firefly Gallery. We just recently had a group show there, and I had a couple pieces in that. But as you can see, I'm an illustrator and a watercolor artist, and I really love both of those mediums. In addition, I love lettering. So I teach all of these things now online on Zoom. But let's get right to copperplate then. So copperplate is fashioned with this writing instrument, which is called an oblique pen holder. It's called a pointed pen because it's got a pointy nib and it's pretty sharp. And what this nib does, when you press down on it, it splits open. Can you see that? See how it splits open there? And that's how I get my thick line. When I use less pressure and I go up to make a line, it closes back up and I get a thin line. So anytime I'm going up, I'm using very little pressure. And then when I come down, I use harder pressure. And that's how I get my thin and thick lines. And if you watched with Calligraphy last month, that was done with a marker, but the same principle. Light pressure when I went up, hard pressure when I came down, and that's what gave me my thin and thick lines. So where do you see copperplate? Probably on most wedding invitations, you've seen it. Sometimes people just make them use it to illuminate quotes, but the place most popular and known for it is our Constitution. So our Constitution, they didn't have the benefit of using this and such a modern writing instrument. They had a quill, and the quill was a feather, but they fashioned the tip of the feather into a shape just like this. And they did it first. I should really say that We did this. We fashioned the modern nib after, our ancestors, when the way they used a quill. But they did the same thing that you see here. They cut a little line. Let me see if we get really close. Oops, not good with the focus. There you go. There's a little line right here so that when you put the pressure down, the nib would split. And that was, again, the feather and the quill held us in good stead for a long, long time until we got fancy and modern. And this is the writing instrument we have now. There's even one that's easier than this. I'm going to demonstrate that in a minute. But for now, I'm going to be demonstrating with this oblique pen holder. And here's some samples of my copperplate calligraphy. I just did this as a little sample. And here is a beautiful quote by Vincent van Gogh. I can't get it all in, but I'll read it side to side. Vincent van Gogh said, "I'm always doing what I cannot do yet in order to learn how to do it." That's right, that's art. You don't start out knowing. You just have to have curiosity and go to those places that it takes you. So I love that quote. Here is a combination of an illustrated letter with copperplate calligraphy. Hope is contagious. We sure need that right now, right? And so now I come to when I teach. This is page 1 of the packet I give out to students. And what you're looking at, don't look here for a minute, just look at the top up here. What you're seeing along here are actually parts of letters. They look independent, like sometimes people go, oh, is that a P? It's actually not a P, it's the top of an H. And they all have names. And what we do when we learn copperplate calligraphy is we only learn how to make these shapes first. And as you can see, they're on a slant. There's thick and thin lines to them. So this is the first thing we learn when we learn copperplate, because if we get this foundation right, if we learn how to make all these shapes right, when you combine these shapes, they make all the lowercase letters of the alphabet. So I'm going to show you that. And it's right on all my, my guideline sheets. So as you can see here, here's the letter I, and it's laid out like a whole math equation, just like calligraphy. If you watched this last month, it's the same thing. This is called an entrance stroke, and there it is. We learn to make the entrance stroke nice and thin and on that angle. And to make an I, we add an entrance stroke plus this symbol called an underturn. So an entrance stroke plus an underturn equals an I. Of course, you put a little dot on it. And it goes like that for all the letters of the alphabet. We come back to this rubric. This is our foundation. So again, although I'm not teaching you how to make all those marks and stuff today, I wanted you to know what's entailed should you ever want to learn copperplate calligraphy. It's actually very simple. And if I had learned this as a child, when we had cursive writing, I did very poorly in penmanship. I know it's shocking, but because I grew up to be a calligrapher, but at the time, I don't understand why I didn't understand what the squiggles were. But had it been laid out like this, I think it would have been a little better for me. But anyway, it all worked out anyway. And that is how we come to approach learning a scripted hand like copperplate. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to demonstrate for you. I have nearby here this little piece of wood that has these little cutouts in them. And what the cutouts hold are these little vials. And when I buy my ink, I shake it up, and then it has a little, like an ink top, and I squeeze it and I put a little dropper full of ink in there. The reason we need this thing and this little contraption is called, adorably, a Dinky Dip Holder. Isn't that cute? This is a Dinky Dip Holder, and these are Dinky Dips. The reason we need these is because of this oblique pen holder contraption. It comes off. I'll show you. Most of the time, we write like this, right? There's a nib here and we write like this. But the oblique pen holder has this little thing coming to the side because now I'm demonstrating as a right-handed calligrapher, but you would do the same thing, just bringing it to the left side. It gives us the automatic slant we're supposed to be at. And although when you first start, it feels disorienting because you're like, wait, something's happening over here because you're used to writing straight on, but you get used to it. And again, with practice, anything can be done. And so this doesn't fit into the top of the conventional ink. So we have the Dinky Dips and the Dinky Dip Holders, and you can get them online if you're ever curious about that. But so now I am going to demonstrate. I'm going to write a quote in Copperplate calligraphy. I just want you to enjoy. I just want you to not think about anything other than enjoying the look of these letters appearing before your eyes. I'm going to give you an Oscar Wilde quote. Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. Here we go. That is called Flourishing, and there's a way to teach that as well. And I'll just pause for a moment because I'm never the teacher. There are ovals within these Flourishing. Can you see the oval there? Can you see the oval there? Flourishing is based on not only the rhythm of our arm as it moves, but on ovals. Ah, somebody wrote so lovely. It is a beautiful thing to watch. I always want to be that artist that's in the park, just, doing calligraphy in front of everybody because it's pleasurable. So there's the quote, but of course we have to give credit to Mr. Wilde. And so I think I'll put that in here. And then of course I got to sign it. So there you go. Are you hooked? Isn't it a lovely thing? And if you are of a certain age, and that is me in my, well, I'm close to 100. That's what I say, but not really, really. Closer to 100 than the other way. What I say is if you're of a certain age, cursive was part of your life. And, you know, we didn't have iPads and we were learning typing sometimes in high school. But what was wonderful was the written hand and what we call the power of the pen. And what happens when you write, when you're a scribe, what happens? There are even therapies where they say to write it out. Don't type it out, it's writing out. What happens between the head, the hand, and the heart is a beautiful thing. And certainly my generation remembers that and knows that. So this is maybe a reminder about those good old days when we did everything by hand. And you know, also you got to think of it, paper was very expensive, you know, and paper had to be made. And so when you talk more ancient times, whatever was written down better be important, right? Because it was not an easy thing. You know, we just go to Staples now, get a ream of paper. It was not, you know, readily available. It had to be made. So anyway, here we go. This is your first quote. Now I'm going to open it up to you guys. I have some more quotes I'm going to do in a minute, but I want to keep you interested. So if you can either send in the chat or you can unmute yourself if you have a quotation you'd like me to do, or if you'd like me to do your names, I would love to do that. But while you think, I'm going to write Susan's name. So if you're also getting the idea that calligraphy is done slowly, it is. It certainly is, because it has to be more drawn than just scribbled. It's deliberate. The marks and the shapes you make are deliberate. Oh, I saw a quote. Oh, somebody said a quote. Can you say it again? I saw sisters are flowers. Is that what it was? Just can you type it again, please? I'm sorry. It went by very quickly. Or you can unmute.
Helen, it
Yes?
says sisters are flowers in the garden of life.
I love it. Sisters are flowers
Yeah,
in
you
the
got it.
garden. Okay. All right, I'm going to do that one. I'm going to save this page for more names, so I'll just put this aside for a second. And so when I do a quotation, you know, I have to put down lines. And so I have to figure out, well, about how many lines would that take? And then I take my trusty ruler, my little square edge, so I get nice, proper straight lines. Although you can do calligraphy on a curve. You know what? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you guys calligraphy on a curve, because that'll be fun. So let's see if I can fit that quotation right there. Oh, I just moved the paper away. Sisters are flowers in the garden of life. Okay, here we go. I'll probably need 2 lines, but at least I can start. So here comes a nice descender. That means a line that goes down, the F in flowers. So I'm going to do something. I don't know what, but something. Yeah, flowers are going to pop up. Ran out of ink. We're not concerned. We just go back over it. I just want you to see what that's looking like. Isn't that cool that it's on the curve like that? Sisters are flowers in the garden of life. Okay, I'm not going to be able to fit it on this whole line, so I'm going to make another line down here. Flowers. I think it's going to say sisters are flowers, and then I'll do in the garden of life down here. So normally, you know, when I'm doing workout, I do a couple sloppy copies and stuff, but for you guys, I am just going to do it perfectly the first time out. The pressure's on. Sisters are flowers. Let's make a big entrance stroke because it'll just look pretty. In lots of swirls. Okay, I fit it all on there. Sisters are flowers in the garden of life. And then again, I think I would add more flowers to these lines here. And of course, if there is a credit, I would put that here, or again, you could put it to the side. And this is again, just using the pen. There's so many other ways you can incorporate art into your lettering. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do your names in a minute. I want to show you another writing instrument. So hang on, I just want to rinse this so that it's not, what happens is this ink is permanent and waterproof. So I always have water nearby so I can clean it. Oops, got some water on my work. Good thing it was just a demo. So I would like to show you the Tombow. There's a marker called the Tombow Fudenosuki. It's a wonderful marker. And the wonder of it, it just looks so unassuming, just look like a regular marker, but no. This marker can do what this pen does. So you see the evolution? First we had the quill, then we have the oblique pen holder, we have pointed pen nibs. Now we have a marker that when you open it up, there's no oblique thing. See how this thing sticks out to the side? Nope. Now we're back to having control. It's right in our control. There's a little piece of plastic in there. So when I tell people that this is a special marker, don't pick it up and use it like a regular marker. You'll ruin that little plastic nibby thing. What this affords us, it gives us thin and thick lines, just like this, only it's in a marker. So I don't have to dip. You can toss this in your purse or your back pocket, and you can do calligraphy wherever you are. Instead of having to bring stuff like your Dinky Dips and water and, you know, tissues to, you know, pick up any spills or anything. Nope, it's all in a marker now. And they're amazing capabilities. So I want to show you the difference between this and this. And then I'm going to do a little thing for you that I hope will delight you. So I'm going to write a couple lines, and I'll come up with a couple of words, or if you guys want to type in some words you want to see. So again, these are guidelines that I erase at the end. So let's use this first. I'll write a word and then I'll write the same word with this so you can see the difference. You know what? I think the word is going to be thankful because I'm awfully thankful these days. So here we go. Dipping, making sure that my nib goes past. There's a little vent hole there. Then I drag it back because I only want the ink in here. I don't want it here because then I'll get a blob. Here is thankful. Thankful. Done with the oblique pen holder. I'm going to dip it in water again so that it doesn't get it doesn't stay on there and ruin my nib. And what you see off camera is I just dipped it in the water and then I'm just taking a piece of tissue, just taking off the excess. Later on, I'll get in there and I'll hit it with a toothbrush, not my own, just a crummy toothbrush to take off the excess there. I don't need to use soap. All I have to do is hit it with some water. It'll come right off. Okay, thankful. Now done with the fabulous Tombow Fudenosuki. I'm going to put it to the side here because the F will interrupt where I need to be, but you'll see, you'll be able to see the whole thing. Isn't that remarkable? Same way, I'm doing hard pressure when I come down to get that thick line. When I go up, I'm getting the thin line by using light pressure. Well, what do you know? Isn't that amazing? So now I do use these more on place cards and stuff because sometimes it's so tiny to put those names on a place card, and this works great. So I am thankful. I am thankful you're here. I am thankful that spring is gonna come. So thankful. Okay, so names. Back to my names. Wait a minute. I told you I had a surprise. So here's my surprise. This marker, what this also makes it possible for me to do as an artist is I can use it to put words on rocks. So isn't that remarkable? Just with a marker, I'm able to put it on a rock. So if you give me, I did one the other day, I did a demo. Someone said, can you put "you are loved"? And I thought, oh, that is so beautiful because I found a rock that sort of looks like a heart. I'm like, yeah, that's what we're putting on it. And then I put little hearts and stuff. It was just done with this marker. So people ask me, is it waterproof? Can these go outside? And I say, no, these are indoor rocks. So, oh, is there a certain angle to hold that? Yes, the same angle that you put your oblique pen holder down, you hold it the same way because you still want that angle. And the way you learn to keep it at that angle, if you don't have this as a guideline, is practice. When you learn to make those, it's like 8 or 9 basic shapes, and you learn to make them by rote, you will get into the habit of making them on the correct angle. But yes, good question. You do hold this at the same angle as this. So my treat to you, come up with something. So I already have "You are beautiful" on a rock. I already have "You are loved." This is like a gigantic rock. It's like, it could like fit like the Constitution. I don't know. It could fit some message. And then I can bring it to the library and we can leave it out at the library. So I'll give it to Susan. I will bring it by one day. So does anyone have, again, it shouldn't be more than maybe 4 or 5 words. Maybe, all right, you guys think, brainstorm. We could do inspirational. We could do 1-word inspiration. Well, if it were for the kids, I'd say, "You got this." They seem to love that. "You got this." But what is a 1-word inspiration that if someone saw this rock would make them feel okay? Or if you need a couple,
Amazing.
amazing. How about "You are
Yeah.
amazing"? Do you like it? Thumbs up?
Good.
Yes?
Like that. Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to do "You are amazing." So when you pick up a rock, it has characteristics. I have to figure out the best way how it would sit. This would be, it would interrupt my lettering. So I'm going to flip it this way. I like it this way, but it's got some of these little marks in there. It's not the rock sport fault. It was, created like a million years ago, but I'm just saying that I have to be careful then to work around that. And so I actually am going to use it. I'm going to write the word "amazing" first, and then "You are" at the top. The same way I did "You are beautiful." See how I did "beautiful" and then I did "You are"? I think that'll work. Okay, here we go. So I want to incorporate this. So how will I do that? Yeah, it works. Amazing. So now I have this little thing that could be an impediment, but I'm going to go right through. It looks like there's a little spot I can go through. Yep. I'm big into hearts. Lots of hearts everywhere. So now we want to put "You are." So this may be a little wet, so I'm going to put my hand down just to make sure. But look, no, it's dry. Oops, sorry, can you see there? And this is not going to be done in Copperplate. I'm going to let the word "amazing" be the star of the show. I'm just going to write "You are" in just a regular kind of capitals. All right, well, they're a little fancier than your regular capitals, but I'm a calligrapher. It's required. So I love to extend the line. I always teach, when I teach calligraphy, I said, just because the line ends here, it doesn't mean, it has to end there. Okay, so that's looking good. But again, this marker can make thin lines very nicely. And I think I'm going to make this rock filled with amazing stars. And the other elements I like to add are dots. So I'm going to make lines and dots. So this looks like it's streaming down. Last year, Northport had a Winterfest. And as a member of the Firefly Artists Gallery, they had a booth. And they said, "Oh, do you want to do your rocks?" I had my head down for 2 hours making rocks for everyone, children, grown-ups, dogs. People wanted little doggy rocks. And I made little tiny paw prints. So, you know, rocks are for everyone, and you can do this. You just have to go get a Tombow Fudenosuki. And it takes the ink so lovely. And now again, I'm just making dots and swirls. This part you can't do wrong. This part is just how you like to make art. One of the things I love about teaching the lettering arts and getting people back interested into them is that it is a technical pursuit. You actually don't have to be an artist like this. If you are, it's more fun. But when you're learning lettering, it's just a technical pursuit. It's just learning to make those shapes. And once you got that down and you combine the shapes, then you have words. So anyone can do lettering. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. I'm going to sign it. And I will bring it to, now I feel bad for the South Huntington Library. They're like, well, where's our rock? So South Huntington, I'll make you a rock too. But this one is for the Harborfields. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to go back to this instrument, the oblique pen holder. And I'd like to do some of your names so you can see how fancy your names look like in calligraphy. So if you feel too shy to say your name, I'm just going to look at the participants. Oh, we have Emma, Charlotte, we have Jerry. Oh, we've got a couple of Jerrys. So unless you don't want me to do your name, speak now, forever hold your peace. I'm going to do your name. I'm going to start with Emma. Oh, Lynn, I'm going to start with you then. And then I'll go to Emma. Lynn, this is for you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Lynn, did you have an E at the end? Did I see L-Y-N-N-E?
Yes.
Okay. There you are.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. You're very welcome. You know, I should have gotten the names of all of you beforehand, but I did say I'd do Emma next, so I'm going to do Emma. So Emma, wherever you are, isn't that a beautiful thing? The way that E swirls around there. I'm wild for the E. Looks like a little bug, looks like little bug's wings. I want to tell you something else, guys. When you write like this, the reason we call it meditation in motion, you get relaxed. When you're first learning it, it's tense. You know, you're trying to figure it out. But once you have this down, when I used to address envelopes for weddings, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, sweet 16s, whatever it was, there was never a day that I didn't look forward to it because it is so peaceful. You just start going, and you can see it's because of the way you're going up and down like this. It's like breathing. Okay, that's from Miss Emma. Then I saw Charlotte, so I'm going to do Charlotte. And if you can think of a quote. And although I have been working in this blue today, this blue is my favorite color. The variety of the colors of ink available, or it's a wall of inks. Like if you go to Blick or if you go online, name any color, they have it, and they have it in iridescent, and they have it in everything. Okay, there's Charlotte. I saw the name Mark earlier. So I haven't investigated, but I do wonder how long did it take to write that Constitution? Right? You see it, it's slow going in a way. I saw Jerry with an I and I saw Jerry with a Y, so I'm gonna do them. And if I'm missing you, I don't want to let you know, don't just holler out.
Yes, thank you. That's
You're very
lovely.
welcome. So here is Jerry with a Y first. See how it's like embroidery.
And it is. And I always use a lowercase g for my first name.
Do you? So are you J-E-R?
Yes, because it's
I'm going to do that then. So how do I spell it? G-E-R-I or D-E-R-R-I?
G-E-R-R-Y. But
Oh,
since
like
my
this? Well, I lost you.
I'm back.
You're
It's not a
back.
stable connection.
Yes. So you were saying you do your name lowercase, the G?
Yes.
Lovely. Forgive the heart. It's just who I am. Okay. Who else? I have Irene and Janet and Judith. I'm going to do them. That's actually the I, Irene. I know it looks like a J, but I'm going to do Judith next, and then you'll see how it differs. That is the I. This is the J. We go below the baseline there. So is it Judith or Judy?
I use both.
So which
Judy
you
most of
prefer?
the time.
Would you like
Judy's
me to do
okay.
Judy? Judy's
You
okay?
can do Judy, sure.
Okay, because then you have your descender.
Right.
So did you see I stopped there? Because I was going to put a
Yes.
heart. Because I wanted to put a heart.
Cute.
Yeah. So you have control.
Yes.
Okay, now Janet. Heart on top. Okay, so where are we? Is there anybody else? I have I did Linny. I have a Michelle. I have a Linda and a Liz. Yes? Okay, let me just get another piece of paper. Actually, I can just add on to the bottom of this. With my trusty, this is what I started to say earlier. When I make guidelines, I use a T-square, so it gives me straight lines on my paper. And I'm making my guidelines very dark because I want you to see how I'm working. But normally I don't need dark guidelines. And also I use a light table, so my guideline shines up for me. Okay,
are
what
you-
name?
And
Sorry, go ahead.
Are you using a pencil for the lines?
Yes, just a
Okay.
regular pencil. So Linda, Liz, and Linny. No, I did Linny. Linda, Liz, and Michelle. L is my favorite, my very, very, very favorite letter. I wrote my book called Lettering Life because I needed those L's. Liz, Linda. Isn't this fun, guys?
Yes.
And soothing. It is soothing. It is a soothing thing to do. If you ever want to take it up, I recommend get into a class and enjoy. So Michelle, was it with one L? Hang on, let me see what I see.
Yes.
Michelle, yes, one L, so it's
Thank you.
M-I-C, oops, where'd you go? I've lost you. Where are you?
Michele.
Got it. I'll give you a double loop. So I do have, I don't know if you guys are into this. I do have an Instagram account where I put little videos of me writing letters like this. I think Susan said it was okay last time, so I'm thinking maybe it's okay this time. But Susan, if you're there, is it okay? Can I give them that information?
Of course.
Okay. And also my email in case they want information about classes.
Definitely.
Okay, so guys, I'm just gonna put this to the side for a minute. You can take a screenshot or you can write it down with a pen or a pencil, power of the pen. This is my Instagram account. I write it all out because I'm old. But my handle, I guess you call it, is Helen.ink, I-N-K. But if you just type that in just like that with the backslash and everything, it'll take you right there. And my Instagram account is public and it is safe for children. This is my email, hmurdock@optonline.net. Shoot me an email if you want to get on a list. I'll let you know about other programs. But the next one coming up for you guys will be at the end of March. It'll be almost spring. So I'll meet you back here next month to teach you about the broad edge pen. Somebody just said they could watch it all day. I know. So next month, we're going to learn about this writing instrument. So mostly when people think of calligraphy, this is the thing that most people start with. This is called a broad edge pen. So this is, wait till you see the capabilities of what this does. That's italic, Gothic, foundational, uncial, beautiful. And then when you see what a modern instrument does, how it can mix colors right on the paper, I think you will be dazzled. So I do hope I see you next month. Now I'm not signing off. I just wanted to make sure I got that stuff in. I am going to flip my camera over now so we can chat. If you have any questions at all, I'd be happy to answer it. All right, so hang on one second. This is always a big moment for me when I flip over the camera and hope I don't break it because it's like it's wedged into this tripod thingy. Okay, we're live. Now I just have to flip it, switch camera. That's it. Okay, we're alive. Here I am, almost 100. So nice to see you all. I'm going to put you on gallery so you can see your faces. You don't have to show yourself if you don't want, if you want to stay private. I can hear your voice if you have any questions at all. I am here. What'd you think?
I thought your
Kind of-
program was wonderful, really
Good.
fabulous and very soothing and of course
Good.
beautiful. Do you
Thank
ever
you.
use glass dip pens?
Yes, I should have demoed that. Yes, do you use them?
I have some, so I was wondering maybe another time you could show that.
I would be happy to.
Thank you.
Glass dip pens, I don't know if you fall in love with it the same way. They have the swirly tip at the end. And as the ink comes down, it's hard for me not to look at the swirly glass tip. It's so beautiful, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
Great.
Good. Oh, good. So we have a calligrapher in our midst.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, Michelle. Anybody else have any questions? Calligraphic emergencies?
Are there,
Helen, this was wonderful. Thank you so much again. And we look forward to seeing you again
Good.
next month.
Thank you, guys. Thank you again to the South Huntington Public Library and Harborfields Library and Susan Hope and anyone else that was involved. Thank you for having me. It is a joy to bring the lettering arts to our community. I hope one day that you can get into a class or explore it in some way. Look on YouTube. There's videos.
Thank
Okay?
you.
You're very welcome.
so much.
Have a great month. I'll see you next month. Thank you, Susan.
You're welcome.
Bye.
We'll see you next month, Helen.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.